Sweeties, how are you doing? Before we get into this video, I want to say thank you so much for subscribing to my backup channel. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Kindly go subscribe to my backup channel. Welcome to Nanyacim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification so you get notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all, and I want to say a very big thank you to every one of you for always coming back to watch my videos and subscribing. You all are super awesome. Thank you so much for always coming through. So today we'll be checking out something that I found really interesting, and it's actually about an Asian woman saying that black people are being oppressed, and that Asian people are giving loan in America to open businesses in black communities, and why black communities are not getting loan to start their own businesses. And she went further to explain how most majority of the money black people make do not stay in black community. It is not being spent in black community. Stay go to the screen. You don't want to miss out on the points she made. Let's get into it and then come back to talk about it. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. So let me roll the clip.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods because white people didn't want Asian Americans operating in their neighborhoods and didn't want Asian Americans profiting off of white people. But because the positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress black people, Asian Americans were being given loans to open businesses in black communities, even though black people were not able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities. And as I've said before, as a result of this, black wealth is essentially paid out twice when it goes to Asian American businesses. Once when the individual pays for the goods or services, and then again when the Asian American business owner removes the profit from the community. Because usually people open businesses in their own communities, and this is mutually beneficial, where the business owner is making a livelihood off of providing goods and services to their community, and by being a member of the community, they're contributing and they're investing back into the community. This is an ideal situation, and that is not what happens with Asian American businesses operating in black communities.
All right, I was able to gather up stitches on this, and people are actually talking about the whole thing, and also being happy that she actually spoke out, because it's not like some people actually do not know about it, and some people really do know about it. So straight up, let's get into the stitches.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods.
What up, TikTok? So, 3-minute warning. Y'all know I don't like making them long unless I got to. So, go back and look at what she's talking about, right? Her saying that makes everything else make sense. Ever since we've been accepted into this country, anyone who is or has any tint to their complexion was always ostracized in this country, right? But nobody more than us, we already know the history of that, right? So all these years, every time we fight for something, they rebrand it and use it against us in another way, right? So we take it all the way up to 1965. We fight for civil rights, but we don't really we fighting for civil rights for black people, but it got worded so that it'll be for everyone, which isn't a problem. But then they use that to punish us too. So now you look at the hood, look at where we at. I'll take St. Louis where I live. And in the city, there is a tremendous amount of Asian restaurants, right? Nobody make Chinese food like people in St. Louis make Chinese food. Nobody. But there's also a bunch of Pakistani restaurants, or they have more like grocery stores, little convenience stores, so Hindu people, Pakistani people, everybody got something that got stake in the hood, black people. And what she said just made it make sense. Everyone can get a loan to get something in our neighborhood, but once you try to get past those city limits out to the other neighborhoods, it's where it get real iffy. That's why you never see them out there. So they basically won't let us do it and then use the immigrants against us and cause a big issue, which we don't really even have issue because we wound up being cool with them. But we also are kind of pissed because we're like, we want to do that and they won't let us. So it starts to come out. Like, you start to see the BS that they play. They do it the same way when it comes to buying like hood homes and all these other things. Won't let us get it, but they'll let everybody else come in and move in and do it. Now you take every movement since then. You take the feminist movement. We ain't really have our issues in the black community, but they brought our black women in and we got a lot more issues in the community. Same thing with this patriarchy thing. They're using everything against us and each generation keep falling for it. We would have had way more than what we have if they wouldn't have kept burning our shit down. But they still using everybody against us.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods.
Yep, and what she's saying is exactly true. Guess how long the black dollar stays in our community? 30 minutes. It's true. It goes out to the Asians, it goes out to the Arabs, it goes out to the whites, the doctors, the lawyers, and it never stays in our community. And, you know, what she's saying is exactly right. The whites do not want the Asians setting up shop in their communities, so they pay them and give them loans that they won't give to black people to set up in the black community. Okay, so not only do they take away and not give to African Americans after this whole slavery thing, right? But they give to other communities to rape us again. So no one on my page should ever say black people do not uplift themselves when there's a whole system, a systemic racism set up for failure of African Americans.
The positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress black people. Asian Americans were...
So what she says next is that Asian Americans were provided with loans to service those areas, those red line areas that they were already blocked out of as well. They were blocked into doing business in. So what I want to point out here is the systemic structure that created the situation that we are currently living in, right? So we ask the questions, why are there so many Asian-owned stores in our community? Why are there so many Arabian-owned stores in our community, from beauty supplies to liquor stores to fast food restaurants, all these different places, right? So these business owners were given loans to set up shop in these communities. So when we don't see any fast food or any healthy food options in our community, because those businesses were not given an investment to set up shop in our community for a specific reason. It was race related, right? And so we have to understand that these are systemic structures that set this up. The system set this up. The government set this up. So the solution is to get out here and learn about the resources that's here, right? There's a huge wealth transfer that's happening, you know, and not just the conversation of reparations. I know I brought that up previously, but we're talking about, like, you know, business loans, business funding, right? They're giving out major grants to communities, community organizations that are helping small businesses build through technical assistance. And so there's so many initiatives out there, but where's the information, right? Most of us don't know about it. So most folks think I need to just go ahead and get a job because I'm not going to be able to sustain myself if I start a business. And what does that do? That sends you right back into the employee mode. And if they can feed you, they can starve you. And so this has been the issue that we've been dealing with. So my suggestion is, like, let's pull together, tap in with these resources and build for our communities, build for our families, so we can build some wealth, because we can't build wealth being an employee. They don't allow it. I tried it. Trust me, right? Those pension plans, they not trying to pay out if you ain't trying to work for them, period, right? And they cutting them even if you are working for them. So we got to have a plan of our own, and we need to tap into these community resources, you know. So tap in with me if y'all want any more information. DM me any questions you got, especially if you're in the LA area. There are so many resources that I've been able to learn about and get tapped into. So tap in with me and have a blessing. Peace.
businesses in black communities, even though black people were not able to receive loans.
Okay, if you have not watched that video, I want y'all to go watch that entire video, okay? Go watch the entire thing and then come back here. And I look crazy. I'm just waking up. But y'all, I had to speak on this. I have to speak on it. So the two things that I want to talk about and highlight that she spoke about in that video was the fact that the government pays Asians to open up and give them money to open up businesses in low-income, struggling Black communities because they do not want them in white communities. They do not want their businesses. They don't want them opening up. They don't want them in their communities, so they put them in our communities. And the importance are why that is such a detriment to the communities that they are in. Now, them not giving us money to open up businesses and be in our own community. Let's talk about that. This is not something that is new. I want y'all to understand that this has been going on for a very long time. Okay, I'm from the South, and just for what I can remember, and I'm almost 30. I was born in 93. I went to school with two Asian brothers, okay, in middle school. And I went to school with two Arab brothers in high school. Now, the Asian brothers, they did not stay here long. They were here long enough for them to get to high school, and then they went back to China. No, one of them, the youngest one, went back. I believe the oldest one stayed long enough to get to college, so to go to college, and then he went back to China. They are not here anymore. Their family opened up a restaurant / little gas station right smack dab in the middle of the hood in my city, my little town where I live. Y'all, it's so crazy because when I look at where it was placed, yes, it's in the smack dab middle of like the hood, but as far as profit wise, it's like the perfect location. They are actually across the street from our post office, and they also sit across the street from a funeral home, a very busy section. You have to pass by schools and like everything. It's they make a lot of money. Now, the Arab thing, I didn't really start to notice until like I was in college, but just how many Arab-owned stores there are in Black communities. Arab gas stations, little food places, it's so many of them. Why is it that they're always in the Black communities, but when you go to these upper echelon communities, they're not in their communities, okay? They put them in the hood, and I never understood it. I thought that that was the businesses' ideas. I didn't know that that was government mandated, right? Now, the detriment that that does is because if you watched her other videos, she spoke about and said that for them, the business is paid and makes money once we go into these communities and we're giving them their money. But then their community is also doubling or profiting double off of that because their profits are not spent in the communities in which their businesses are thrown in the middle of. They're making all of this money from the people within these communities, but they don't give back to the community. They don't spend that money within the community. They're not reinvesting that money. They're getting that money, they're taking their profit, they're taking your money, and they're sending it back to their families. They're taking your money and they're getting it up out of here. Now, what's important for that for me is because there's so many people on this app, on YouTube, selling courses and business credit and Airbnb business hustles and buy this ebook and buy this course of them trying to give you the master's tools and telling you that that's how you're going to be free. And I want for us as melanated folks to understand that that's not ever going to work for us. We can't take their tools and use them against us. Why would you want the oppressor's tools anyway? BFFR.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods.
So y'all go back and check out that video. But this is for all the immigrants that come over here and talk down on foundational Black Americans. saying that we're not hard workers. We need to pull ourselves by our bootstraps. What that lady in the video said confirmed that immigrant groups that come over here are incentivized to undermine the black Americans here. Y'all are able to get loans and grants and different benefits to build businesses in our communities that we can't even get loans for. Throughout history, whenever we try to build anything, we are purposely sabotaged, not just by the government itself, but also by these other groups. I seen somewhere where a black-owned hair store could not buy products from the wholesaler because the Korean-owned hair store told the wholesaler not to sell to the black-owned hair store. That's why when you go to the hood, you see these Asian-owned liquor stores, these Indian and Arab-owned gas stations in all our communities. Because they get loans and they get benefits to be able to open them stores in our community. You see, they can't open them up in the white communities because they not going to have that. So the government incentivized them to open them up in our community.
And let me know what you all think in the comment section, because I really want to read all you got to say about this. Thank you all for all your support, and you know what? See you all in my next video. Bye.